Welcome to English Odyssey. Get ready everyone, because this story will take you on an exciting adventure. Let the story begin. Chapter 1: President Trump's bold messages. President Donald Trump used his social media to write strong messages. His words were surprising for many people around the world. President Trump wrote about the country of Iran, and he made a clear demand. Iran must stop fighting and give up completely. He used the words unconditional surrender. President Trump also wrote about Iran's top leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. President Trump said that the United States government knows exactly where the leader is. He wrote that the US would not attack the leader, at least not for now. This meant the threat could still happen later. These messages came at a dangerous time. There was a war happening between the countries of Israel and Iran. Israel was making attacks in Iran, and Iran was sending missiles and drones towards Israel. The fighting was heavy and caused problems for people in both countries. Because of this difficult situation, President Trump left an important meeting. He was at the G7 meeting with leaders from 7 important countries, but he went back to Washington early. Many people around the world were afraid this war could get much bigger. They worried it could bring more countries into the fighting in the Middle East region. This was a very serious and uncertain time. Chapter 2: The war begins. The war between Israel and Iran started directly, changing things greatly. For many decades, these two countries had not attacked each other's land like this. Their past fights were usually through other groups in the region. But on June 13, 2025, this changed. Israel began a large attack it called Operation Rising Lion. Israeli aircraft flew surprise missions deep into Iran. They targeted Iran's military bases and critical sites connected to its nuclear work. The leader of Israel said this was a necessary step to defend against Iran's growing threat. These initial strikes killed some top Iranian military leaders and also several scientists working on nuclear projects. Iran was quick to answer Israel's attacks. On June 18, Iran launched many missiles and drones toward Israel. These were fired in waves at Israeli cities and other areas. People living in places like Tel Aviv heard explosions as missiles were fired or stopped in the sky. The Israeli Defense Forces used their air defense systems like the Iron Dome to intercept most of the incoming rockets. However, some of Iran's missiles, including some long-range ones, did cause damage. The fighting continued for 6 days and led to damage and sadness on both sides. Groups that follow human rights reported that hundreds of people in Iran were killed by Israeli strikes. They also stated that dozens of people in Israel died from the Iranian missile attacks. This war had a very big impact on ordinary people. In Iranian cities like Tehran, residents felt great fear. They heard the sounds of bombing and some areas lost electric power. Even a building used for state television was reported hit. In Israel, sirens warning of rocket attacks sounded often. Thousands of families went to hide in safe rooms or bomb shelters every night to be safe. The fighting also caused major problems for travel. Many large airports in the Middle East were closed down. Israel's main international airport near Tel Aviv, called Ben Gurion, was shut. Countries around Iran and Israel also closed their airspace to flights. This stopped many international planes and left tens of thousands of travelers stuck far from home. Experts who watched the Middle East called this a very new and dangerous situation. It was the first time the armies of Israel and Iran were directly attacking each other's country on such a large scale. This direct fighting was seen as a serious step that could lead to bigger problems. It truly opened a dangerous new chapter in the history of the region. Chapter 3: Trump's strong words. President Donald Trump used very strong and direct words about Iran. He wrote several messages on his social media platform called Truth Social. His language was more forceful than usual. He wrote about Iran's top leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. President Trump claimed the United States knew exactly where the supreme leader was. He described him as an easy target, but President Trump also said that the US would not kill him right now. He used the words, "at least not for now." This made it sound like killing the leader was an option for later. President Trump added that the United States' patience was becoming low. In another message, he made a very big demand to Iran. He wrote in large letters, "unconditional surrender." This meant he wanted Iran to give up completely without any conditions or talks. This was a very powerful demand. President Trump also spoke about the military situation in the air. He said, "We now have complete and total control of the skies over Iran." This statement suggested that American forces had strong power in the air over Iran, perhaps meaning they could watch or stop things from above. His messages seemed like a mix of warnings and other ideas. While he was threatening Iran and its leader, he had also talked about sending people to Iran to try and negotiate or find a way to talk. But he also said he was not really in the mood for talks at that moment, so his words were not always clear about the path forward. Many people who watched the US government said that President Trump's way of speaking was very different from previous presidents. American leaders usually do not talk so openly about threatening another country's top leader or claiming such control. His language was seen as much more aggressive and challenging. It broke from older ways of US foreign policy. These direct statements caused worry in many places around the world. Countries that are friends with the United States and experts on the region were alarmed. Some thought the words were a way to show strength and make Iran stop, but others were afraid that such strong words could make the dangerous situation even worse. They worried it could lead to one side making a mistake or reacting badly. Leaders in Europe, like in France, shared worries that trying to remove Iran's leader could bring great problems to the Middle East area. People everywhere paid close attention to President Trump's powerful words. Chapter 4: America thinks people in the United States had different ideas about what President Trump said. Some people who strongly support the president agreed with his words. They felt he was right to be tough with Iran and demand they stop fighting. But many other Americans were worried. They did not want the US to get into a new war in the Middle East. This worry was also seen in the US Congress. Some lawmakers in Congress wanted to make sure the president could not start a war without their permission. They talked about rules that say Congress must agree before the US military attacks another country. One Congressman, Thomas Massie, and another, Ro Khanna, worked on a plan to stop the president from attacking Iran alone. A senator, Tim Kaine, was also talking about a similar plan in the Senate. They said that the war between Israel and Iran was not America's war, and Congress should make the big decision. President Trump did not seem to listen to these worries in public. He held meetings with his main helpers who advise him on national security. They talked for a long time about what the US should do next. The Vice President, J.D. Vance, said the president has the right to act if he needs to. However, some people who usually support President Trump, like a person who talks a lot on television, Tucker Carlson, privately told him to be careful and not make the situation worse. Experts who study national security were also not all in agreement. Some said stopping Iran from getting nuclear weapons is important, but they were unsure if threatening war was the best way. Many Americans, based on public surveys, wanted the US to help Israel defend itself, but they did not want American soldiers to go and fight a new war. People were writing and talking a lot about the president's words. Some said his way of talking was dangerous. They worried it could make Iran do something bad. Washington was in a difficult situation, trying to support Israel but also trying not to start a bigger fight. People were not sure if the president's strong words were a real plan or just trying to scare Iran. Chapter 5: The world looks on. Iran's leaders heard President Trump's strong words. Supreme Leader Khamenei spoke on social media. He said Iran would give a strong answer to Israel. He said Iran would show Israel no mercy. Iran's government news showed pictures of attacks. They said America and Israel were wrong to fight. Iran also made its security stronger, but Iran did not name America as a target. Israel did not stop fighting. Prime Minister Netanyahu said the fighting must go on. The Israeli army told people in parts of Tehran to leave. They said they would hit military buildings there. Israel said its goal was to stop Iran from being a danger. They did not say they wanted to change Iran's government. Countries in the Middle East were afraid the war would spread. Countries near Iran and Israel asked everyone to be calm. Saudi Arabia said all sides should stop fighting and not hurt people. Qatar and Turkey tried to help find peace. They stopped planes from flying to Israel and Iran for a time. Many airports in the region closed. This stopped thousands of people from traveling. Big countries around the world were also worried. France's President Macron said that trying to remove Iran's leaders could cause big problems. The United Kingdom and countries in Europe asked for the fighting to stop. China and Russia also said the violence was bad. China's President Xi Jinping asked countries that could talk to Israel to help calm things down. Russia blamed America and Israel for starting the fight. Russia asked for fighting to stop right away. Russia said it would not send soldiers, but talk to Iran. The United Nations watched the situation. The head of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, was very worried. He asked all sides to protect people. Some countries offered to help Iran and Israel talk about peace. Turkey and Oman said they could help. The United States government said it was sending more military planes to the area. This was probably to help protect Israel from more attacks. People in many countries asked President Trump not to threaten Iran's leaders. They were afraid this could make the fighting worse. Iran's news used Trump's words to show that Iran needed to be strong. The world watched closely. People wanted to see if countries could help stop the war or if it would get bigger. Chapter 6: The real story after Israel started attacking Iran. People had many questions. How did Israel attack so fast? Did they use bases in other countries? Did the United States help them? Then President Trump made some strong statements. He said the US knew exactly where Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, was hiding, but many people doubted this. The leader is always in very safe places with many guards. Some thought Trump was just saying this to sound very powerful. Trump also claimed the US had complete and total control of the skies over Iran. This is also hard to believe completely. Iran has strong systems to stop planes and missiles. Maybe Trump meant that US planes or systems could stop Iranian missiles easily, helping Israel. It was not clear what his words really meant. President Trump's way of talking to Iran is very different from past US leaders. Before, presidents did not usually talk about killing the main leader of another country. Trump said he would not take him out, at least not for now. This made many people think, is it right to say such things? Is it okay by international rules? It felt like a very big threat. Trump also demanded unconditional surrender, asking Iran to give up everything without any talks. This is language from very old big wars, which is also different. It is not easy to know what is truly happening. Some news reports said Trump might think about having secret talks with Iran. Maybe his strong words were a way to push Iran to talk or give up, but we do not know for sure if there are secret plans or talks happening. Trump used his own social media to say these important things, not the usual way the government speaks. News around the world quickly shared his words. Both Iran and Israel use news and social media to tell their story, and sometimes the information is not completely true. The most important person in Iran is Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He is called the supreme leader. He has been the leader since 1989. He has the most power in Iran, more than the president. He controls the army and makes the biggest decisions. People in Iran see him as their spiritual and political guide. When Trump threatened him, it was a threat to the very top of Iran's government and its system. This made the situation even more serious. So what is the real story? It is hard to know everything for sure. There are questions about the attack and about Trump's strong claims. His words are different and make people think about what is right and what is legal. Maybe there are secret plans. The main threat is against the most important person in Iran. Finding the whole truth is difficult because many people are saying different things, and the situation is very dangerous and unclear. Chapter 7: Problems for everyone. The war between Israel and Iran created problems for many people, not just those living there. The world felt the effects. One big problem was travel. Many airports in the Middle East stopped operations. Countries closed their airspace. This meant thousands of flights were changed or cancelled. Planes that usually flew over the region had to take very long ways around, sometimes over Africa or Asia. Major airports like the one in Tel Aviv, Israel, were shut down. Many thousands of travelers could not go home or reach their destinations. This caused big problems for airlines and travelers all over the world. The fighting also affected money and business. The price of oil went up a little because people worried about oil supplies from the Middle East. Iran is a country that sells oil, and there were fears that ships carrying oil might be stopped. This made people nervous about the cost of energy everywhere. There were also worries about people's safety and homes. Governments in nearby countries prepared for people who might need to leave their homes to escape the fighting. Borders were watched closely. It became harder for some people, like those from other countries living in the area, to travel or feel safe. Other countries tried hard to stop the war. Leaders from many nations like France, China, and Russia spoke out. They asked both Israel and Iran to stop the violence. They called for calm. Some countries like Turkey and Oman offered to help start talks to find a peaceful solution. The United Nations also said it was very worried about the fighting getting worse. Military forces in different places became more active. The United States moved more military aircraft to the region as a show of strength or defense. Countries near Iran and Israel also put their defense systems, like missile shields, on high alert. Everyone was watching carefully. The war was also fought with words online on social media. Many people shared messages asking for the fighting to stop, but others used the internet to support one side strongly. False stories spread quickly online, making it hard to know what was true. This showed how fast information and fear can spread now. This war was the main news story for the whole world. Other important global events like elections or climate change discussions were not given as much attention. The problems from the war, from travel to oil prices to fears about safety, showed that a conflict between two countries could quickly create problems for everyone around the globe. Chapter 8: The future now. The future now looks very unclear. People have different ideas about President Trump's strategy. Some people who support him think his strong words are smart. They believe he makes Iran stop its bad actions. They say he is strong. Others worry about his words. They think it is dangerous and can start a bigger war that America does not need. These people think Trump is taking big risks. Iran's leaders like Ayatollah Ali Khamenei are also thinking hard. They show they are strong and say they will fight. They use powerful words. This helps them get support from people in Iran who agree with them. But inside Iran, maybe some people are tired of fighting. The fighting makes life difficult for everyone. Countries friendly with the United States are in a hard place. They want peace. They do not want the fighting between Israel and Iran to spread. Leaders in Europe like France and the UK worry that things could get worse. They ask for calm talks. They are watching closely to see what the US will do. This crisis is important for politics in the United States. Different groups in the US talk about who is right. Should the US help Israel more? Should the US try to stop Iran more strongly? Should the US stay away from the fighting? Different groups have different answers, and this affects politics in the US. It is hard to know what is true. There is a lot of news from different places. Some news is real, but some is false information. People spread ideas on social media that are not true. It is important for everyone to look for facts and think carefully about what they read and hear. What might happen next? Some experts think the fighting will continue for a short time with attacks back and forth. Then maybe countries can help them stop the fighting. This would be a limited outcome, but others warn it could become a much bigger war if one side makes a mistake like hitting the wrong target. It could make everything much worse. The risk is serious. This situation is very important for the Middle East region. It changes things for many countries there. It is also important for the whole world. It affects global energy prices, travel around the world, and how countries work together. The future depends on the choices leaders make now. What do you think is the most important thing for leaders to do now to stop the fighting and make things safer? Hey there, just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the English Odyssey channel. It only takes a second, and it really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you. Thanks for sticking around till the end of the story. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a new story. Have a wonderful day, take care, and see you next time.